Hello there. You are with Operation Fatherhood channel. So today, I'm gonna try to keep working on doing weekly live shows. Um, so if people want to drop, questions or comments in the comment section in the live chat, feel free to do so. And like I said before, I hadn't been able to be really consistent on it, and here are the reasons why. Can't go into complete specifics, but due to some recent changes in my personal life and with my family and stuff like that. So sometimes, I might have my pick up my kids from school or have them at night or whatever, what have you. Obviously I can't do it then because I'm trying to be an intentional father, right? This part of the reason for this channel, trying to be there for my babies and interact with them. So it can't just be, me talking about it. And I'll get on that in a minute, actually. Well, I'll just go ahead and say now that, part of the reason for this channel is kind of, well, one sense it was always to, be a blessing to my children in the sense that, if, God forbid I don't live a long time, that they have something to kind of go back to and kind of see what my thinking was when they became young adults. Me being transparent with them. Another thing is, so I could be a blessing to my fellow fathers and other brothers and sisters in this generation and in the future generations. Gorilla Locks, salute, my guy. I miss you, brother. I really, really do. Gorilla Locks, I don't know if any of you all know, but go check out his YouTube channel. He's a real blessing to me when we were neighbors. And a blessing to me now. We don't get a chance to talk too much, but I love it. I love you, dude. I'm not afraid to tell another man I love him. But when, it came to my kids, so, to be a blessing to them, be a blessing to fellow fathers, future, current fathers, yeah, and also the next generation. So I'm a teacher. This is my third year as a teacher. I'd done 2 years, took a year off, and then got back into it this year. So I hope to be a blessing to those young people too. And also, for this, this YouTube channel. Thank you, Gorilla Locks. Appreciate it, brother. Also for this YouTube channel, the thing is too is that I think in some sense, in my mind, I like to think it keeps me accountable to my kids. So I can't just be on here just talking about stuff and then, they get older and they, somebody asks them, hey, I used to see your dad have a YouTube channel. Was he really like that? That's the lessons and stuff he talked about. Did he really live that life? Was he about that life? And they're either going to say yes or no, and my goal is to live in a way where they will say yes, that I wasn't a fake. Like my father, he would tell you himself, he would never do a channel like this or anything. He works for the, well, I'm not gonna say what he does, but his kind of a job and things associated with it where he could never, be in social media or anything like that. But he is, like my everything, but he's one of those folks who told me when I was younger, and he said it, before it was, I heard other people even say it. He was, blunt about it himself. And he just said, don't put any man on a pedestal. We all will fail, at some point. Even the person that you love and hold near and dear to your heart, you think like they're up here as far as an example, they would never do anything wrong, right? Like it just couldn't be possible. Not my dad, not this guy who is my hero, right? He's like a superhero to me. He's, I'm a religious dude, so I'm trying to say a God to me, but for some people, it's almost like so, right? I mean, I think I've heard people talk about, like psychologists say before, that people kind of get their idea of God or who they think God might be or what they think God might be, kind of based off of their father, especially from the Judeo-Christian worldview. So we see God as our father, right? That kind of masculine term. Or not necessarily masculine term, but associated with masculinity, even though, you had to really listen to, break people's theology down because we don't see God as a man. Me as a Christian, I don't see God as like my father's a man or and as my father. I don't believe that, even though I say he for father or he for God or father for God, that I don't believe, he's like he or father is, like my father, my earthly dad. So anyway, my whole point being is that my dad was like, I'm going to fail you at some point. I can't remember his specific words, but I know he did say something to that effect. Don't put me on a pedestal. You know, I'm going to make mistakes. Here's the one thing though. He said that and he didn't say, but he wasn't saying it in the sense of, okay, yes, um, I'm going to, don't put me on a pedestal because I'm going to fail you. But then that wasn't his excuse. I've talked about excuses before on this channel. So he didn't go around saying that, okay, so because I'm not perfect and because, I'm human and because I'm not perfect, I'm human and I'm probably going to fail, then therefore I'm not going to try to live like with a certain standard. Um, and so that being said, he really did try to live a godly lifestyle. It wasn't, like I said before, it wasn't perfect, right? Because he made mistakes in front of me when I was younger. That when I realized he was human, right? Like, it was kind of devastating. I've often wondered how he felt about that because I always think to myself, that one day my kids are going to grow up and they're going to see, hey, daddy's not as perfect as I thought he was. Daddy is, wow, and not because me, their father, goes around and tries to um, do inappropriate things or not care or whichever. Thank you, M. Back. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's so I don't like. I try to be a lot like my dad. I try to reach to his standard. He set the bar high for me, but because he made mistakes in the past, it wasn't then he was like, oh, okay, well, since I'm human, I'm a sinner and all that kind of stuff, and then I'm therefore gonna go and just not care, be lackadaisical, about my fatherhood, and I'm not gonna care about it. And same for me, yes, I'm imperfect. I made some mistakes in my life. I have regrets and all that kind of stuff. Probably will make some more as they get older and become teenagers. My son just turned 5 back on September 21st. My daughter just turned I mean, she's 3 years old. She turned 3 back in May, May 21st. And anyway, I saw all that to say that it's still, the goal is still to always be working on getting better, always working on growing, always working on reaching that standard that my father set for me. Because he set the bar so high, in my personal opinion, that I'm always trying to get on his level. I mean, even now, I'm 36 years old. Um, a father to 2 kids, and he's still schooling me, 21 years older than me. So he's what, 57, he turned 57 back in May. And he's still like, this is not to say my mothers didn't do anything, right? My second mother, his wife, and my biological mother, not to say they didn't do anything. They were there too. They, were blessed to me. But this channel, although I hope to be a blessing to mothers too, and any parent, but like I said, it is geared toward fathers. And so anyway, I just saw all that to say that, grateful to God, for him. The goal is to always be growing, always to live a life pleasing, to my heavenly Father, but also to work on, getting on to my father's, standard as well. Amen, Gorilla Locks. Never too old to teach you something new. Never too old. And I think that's the thing about it too. Is the, I probably touch on this a little bit more later. It's not, it's not really a sociological, that kind of educational channel. But different lessons passed on. Maybe I could, pass on the, different viewers that you may read somewhere else. But like Gorilla Locks pointed out, never too old to teach you something new, right? And that's kind of what I would say. If any of you all have ever heard of fixed mindset versus growth mindset, you want to be on the growth mindset. And the reason being is because a fixed mindset is usually the kind of person, those persons who have a fixed mindset, it's usually very difficult for them to adapt to new things, to learn new things, and to grow from it. Like, you ever heard the old saying goes that it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. That is many cases true many times, because it's just a part of our nature. We just want to be, when we learn what we've learned, we've grown to where we've grown, we've been successful, maybe where we are, whichever. We don't want to change. We get comfortable. It's just part of it. We just get comfortable. But in order to continue to grow and to continue to be successful and continue to really be mentally healthy, you can still learn things even when you get old. So the goal is to have a growth mindset. Because sometimes things will happen in your life, and I'll go a little more in depth probably in another few months about my personal situation, about what I've had to learn and deal with and grow. But you have to learn to adapt, and sometimes that means adapting. When some things have gotten hard for you, whichever. You can't get emotional. Well, you may get a little emotional, or whichever, but you can't allow yourself to get so stuck on um, being emotional that you can't move forward, you can't adapt to what you're going through, you can't grow from what you're going through. Um, and so anyway, I want to get too far on that. So the next 10 minutes, next 9 minutes, I'm going to do work my best to keep a lot of these 20 minutes and under, because like I said before, I think a lot of people, you're just busy. There's a bunch of YouTube channels out there doing what I'm doing in their own way and stuff like that. I'm always trying to do my own thing, my own way. That's why I try not to, take too much from other people's channels and stuff like that. But I don't want to keep your time as much because, like I said before, really past about 15 to 20 minutes, I was like, all right, click, I gotta go. So my thing is to try to give you, good information, under 20 minutes. People are really busy. So like I said before, hopefully, what I'm doing is a blessing to you. Please go back and check out other channels. Please like, subscribe, share, check out links, below, I try to, pass out, other links to my stuff. If you think I'm doing something worthy, share it with other people if you want to donate and all that good stuff. But anyway, kind of two things about, what I really wanted to talk about with this video, kind of gave that as an intro, but for why this, channel is here, I always want to kind of remind people of that, what the goal is. So, two things. One was, trying to make sure that this, one, I want to say thank you to my first 500 subscribers. So I appreciate it on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But I really, really appreciate, you first 500 because, you came and, like I said before, so much content out there. So it's a blessing to get, 500. What I'm going to try to do is try to, be, tell, in these videos, say to, hey, thank you. So my latest subscriber was, I think, Craig Nowicki. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Subscriber. Thank you, brother. Mac, I think it's Mac TV 007. It's Fly, Gemini, Tyler, Ben Patterson, Ashlyn Harp. I said, Gorilla Lock said him back. Ben Patterson, Ashlyn Harp, Hogan Wilson Alejandro, Cease Music One, Johnny Odd, Spencer Sturzik, Fish Say No, Professor Rock, appreciate you. BLT, thank you. Gabriel Tollerson, thank you. Let's see. And I may not say everybody's name, but I just in it there for right now. But like I said before, just thank you so much for being, subscribers. Really, really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. And for the others whose names I did not say, I really, really appreciate it. And the other thing, I wanted to, encourage, my fellow parents out there is we really need to work on. Sometimes I'll probably talk about different things on this channel concerning what I'm seeing in being a public school teacher. And one thing I'm kind of seeing more of, and sometimes, obviously you can say, well, it may be a certain area. It could be a number of things, right? It could be, and sometimes it is a certain area. The area I work in is a high level of poverty, and it's got like a lot of small town areas, I think, where there's a high level of poverty, right? You don't have as many resources or as many, I would say, as many famous people that would come to an area like where I live. And unless like it was an athlete or something like that was, famous or something, they'll kind of go back to their old neck of the woods. There's a cat. Forgive me, I can't remember his name because I don't really watch football like that. I have to be honest, it's sad. I know being in the Southeast, like religion around here. Not my religion, but there's a cat. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Maybe Tyreek Hill, I think. I think he plays for Kansas City, I think. But anyway, really gifted football player, and he's from the area that I, and I'm near the area that he's from. So I'll say where exactly that is. But I'm near that area that he's from, and the area where he's from is, again, it's a high level of poverty. I don't teach in the area that he's from, but I'm near it. And you have a lot of young people that it's kind of heartbreaking, man. Like they really don't care about education. Like I knew that, don't get me wrong, right? Like when I was a kid, I wouldn't say I was probably as bad. I was one of the fortunate ones because I grew up in the suburbs and my parents didn't play that. My father was grew up poor. My mother grew up poor too, but my father grew up poor in Birmingham, Alabama, a place called Moga. Well, not completely Moga, it's near Moga. But grew up poverty, and his goal was like, education was what you needed to do to change, uh, you know, um, family trees, to, grow, get that generational wealth going, so that, he'd be able to pass it on to his sons, yada, yada, yada. And that was his goal. His thing was like, I don't want to just be around here. If I had kids, I want to take care of my children. Um, and he didn't just want to stay in that one area for the rest of his life. Neither did his other brothers and sisters. Now, some of them are still in the Birmingham area, but all of them are fairly successful, and I don't mean successful in that sense like they multimillionaires or six-figure incomes or something like that. I mean successful in they not living with my grandmother. They help take care of her. They doing what they're doing for their families. All of them have families, making a good living, whatever. But his thing is that I'm going to try to do my best to be my best and pass that on. And so, like, when I was growing up, whenever I wanted to be lazy in school, because I've always had to battle laziness. Whenever I wanted to, like, oh man, I don't care about school, which was rare for me because I actually like school. Part of it was because I like seeing my friends too, but I actually like school. Imagine that. That kind of not that kind of not liking school or not having an attitude for education, I think all teenagers go through it. But the thing is that the sad thing about it is too many parents are encouraging that. I did a video recently where I was talking about we got to stop with these excuses. We got to stop giving our children excuses for not doing the right thing, right? So, for example, I've heard this quite a few times since I started teaching back in 2018, which is you will have, there's about a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna make sure I keep this under 20 minutes. You have some parents who the child may have some mental health stuff going on. Sometimes, right? And so they have to take medicine to kind of keep them, fairly normal. And I use that quotes around that because normal can mean a lot of things. You don't want to try to, disrespect anybody. But to keep them focused in class. And sometimes it's legit, right? But there are some folks that they use that as an excuse. It's like, oh, I didn't take my medicine today, so then therefore I'm off the chain in the classroom. And excuse me, not only am I, disrespectful to the teacher, not only am I a distraction to myself, I'm a distraction to others. And that's a problem, right? Like I've dealt with like growing up, even as a young person in the 90s and early 2000s, we knew there were some kids that had some, maybe some mental health issues in the sense they had like ADD or ADHD, right? So they couldn't focus that well, but they still knew to shut up in class. Like they knew to be quiet, right? So even if they couldn't focus, they weren't distracting other people. The problem I'm seeing now is that you have children, some young people who they are not only a distraction to themselves, excuse me, I'm trying to battle a little bit of cold. Not only are they a distraction to themselves and a distraction to the teacher, mainly they're a distraction to the teacher by being a distraction to their fellow classmates. And then, when you tell the parent, sometimes parents have this excuse with it. Oh, well, he didn't take his medicine this morning. Or I forgot to give it to him. Or, we probably need to go take him to the doctor, see if we can give him some medicine. It's like, no, sometimes it's more about, hey, when you're in school, okay, you're going to school, two things, more things, but two main things before I want to let this go in the next minute. One, okay, you're there to get an education. So the goal is, in order for you to get an education, you got to be quiet and pay attention. Okay, you got to be an active listener, listening, write down notes, do your work, whatever teacher asks you and tells you. Secondly, in order to also do that, you need to respect the teacher's authority. That's a word that a lot of people don't like to touch nowadays. What do you mean authority? Like, who you tell me what to do? And so I say all that to say I've literally heard young people talking about not caring, about their work, being like, comical and humorous about failing classes. And that should be a problem. We shouldn't be fostering an environment, a culture where our young people think that's okay. Like I actually had one student, I just pulled him to the side, he's 8th grade. I said, listen, man, that's not going to fly, buddy. I said, you're too smart for that. I said, even if you struggle with school, don't ever be satisfied with being a failure. Okay. 20 minutes is coming up. End of the live show. Okay. please come back and check out Operation Fatherhood more and more. This is why we're trying to build up a community to make excuse me, I'm struggling with my own words now, to make intentional fatherhood great again. Peace.